What's up, everybody? That was loud. Let me just fix this camera here. Solid. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Super excited to be here. It's our Saturday chat as always, and I am literally just like, I'm pumped because we've been doing this on a weekly basis. I have this like flow. I'm in a great flow, a nice state of flow, finding my groove, finding my rhythm. And I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy that you're here too, coming back, and any of the new subscribers. So if you are new here, subscribe, hit that like button, send to a friend. If you resonate with any of my conversations that I'm having with you and to myself, send it to a friend or leave a comment. I would love to hear your feedback or your thoughts on what I think as well. And last but not least, always, go to the link in the bio and subscribe to your wellness club on Substack, because that is where your girl does a lot more of her thinking and blogging, but we also get into the holistic views as well as my like recipes that I'm like creating or like trying out different ones that I've seen and sending it to you guys as well, talking about like movement, our mindset, all of it. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and also subscribe to your wellness club on Substack. Let's get into it. First off, question, how are you doing? How was your week? What is one thing that you enjoyed this week and one thing that you wish you could possibly change or navigate through a little bit differently? Sit and ponder, think about it. So just to backtrack, last week we over here in Canada had a snowstorm. So I'm talking from like Thursday all the way up to our Monday. And I always find that, and we also had a long weekend too. Let me put that out there. We also had a long weekend. So snowing from Thursday, Friday just a little bit, Saturday, Sunday, like full throttle. Monday, family day. Nobody's like working. We're all just chilling, going out, hanging out with our family. And then we start back our work week on a Tuesday. I don't know about you, but when a snowstorm hits, it like tumbles me over. I spent the whole weekend last week baking, and I needed that, and I love that. I'll show you guys a little clip. But I love baking. I love making bread. And this weekend, that last weekend, I made the best bread that I've actually ever made. And take mine, I just started making bread last summer or last fall, actually. And I really enjoyed that process. And it's one of my new hobbies that I find one keeps me in the kitchen, and it allows me to be a lot more calm and get creative. I love using my hands. So this weekend I enjoyed doing that, but then I also found myself glued to my screen, like my phone or my laptop. And I also did have some client calls. So that was a lot for me. So Monday I kind of just took the day, but I always find coming back to work from a long weekend, usually like, I don't want to say screws me over, but I can't wrap my head in a short week. So I kind of pushed a lot of my work stuff back. But I found this week, I took the Tuesday and I gave myself that day just to reorganize what my week is supposed to look like, what my calendar needs to look like in terms of the tasks that I have. And then also it kind of allowed me to just breathe a lot more, because I didn't do what I normally would do for my Monday or starting my Monday. So my Tuesday was kind of my reset. So went to the gym, did my sauna session, read the Power of Now in my sauna session, which is what I always do on a Sunday, but couldn't go anywhere because of the snowstorm. So a lot of it was just a lot, and I have so much to say. God, do you like my energy? I like my energy today. All right, so today's conversation, we're talking about giving yourself permission to be a beginner. And this topic is super like on point for me this month and last month, because I started to do a lot of new things in the gym, and new things for my personal life in terms of learning a new skill. Now, or actually not a new skill, new language. I am that type of person. I believe, I don't know about you, but I believe that I'm really good at learning new things. And when I learn something, I'm very, like, I feel, it gives me confidence. It gives me this confident boost that I enjoy, but then I also dislike. Because on the other side of it, if I'm not good at something that I'm learning, I become very frustrated, and it's hard for me to wrap my head around it. It's really hard for me to wrap my head around it. So, as of recent, I've been learning a new language. I've been learning Arabic. Great. Awesome. Love it. It's so much fun. So much fun. Until it isn't. The reason why I say that is that Arabic is such a beautiful language. It's beautiful, but it's also one of the hardest language, I believe. Now, within that, I've only done five lessons. And we know with anything, when you are learning something, even when you date back to like when we're in school, and even now, like I'm always constantly learning because I am a student. I'm a student always, a teacher last. What I find though is that there are skills that I have that I'm really great at. And there are skills that I have that I don't have and I want to learn, but it's really difficult for me. And once I get into the difficultness of something, I become very frustrated and very hard on myself. I've only been in 5 lessons for learning Arabic. And my teacher has told me, Alicia, you are really good. You are better than most people that I've taught, and you pick up things really quickly. Hi, confident boost. That is what I want to hear. Until I start having to roll my R's and say a word that like my mouth won't fixate to say, because my mouth doesn't know how to move in that way. My tongue doesn't know how to roll. My tongue doesn't know how to, like, it just doesn't know how to pronunciate certain things. And that takes time. When I look back and I'm like, well, how did I start speaking English? How did I learn the English language? That's something that you don't remember. Like anyone that has a first, like we all have a first language. And we don't necessarily remember learning it. It just happens because we are around it every single day. I grew up in an English speaking household. So when I think back, I'm like, oh, I don't really remember learning my ABCs. I know it. I don't remember my first words. I just know it. I don't remember comprehending how, like, to speak or make a sentence. I learned it when I was young, and I don't remember those things. But as I get older, I just do it fluently. But now that but as you get older and you start learning a new skill, and you're at the beginning stages of everything, there's 2 ways that you can look at it. You can embrace it full throttle and be like, this is amazing. I'm a beginner, and I know at every step it's going to get better. And there's another side of it where you're a beginner, and being a beginner can scare you because you want to be good right away. In a lot of different scenarios, I want to be good right away because I don't want to look silly or stupid or be a failure. But I'm also learning that's one part of being a beginner or something, and it's about being vulnerable, being able to look at yourself in a different way and see that's where your growth begins. I grew up doing sport, gymnastics, and gymnastics helped me overcome a lot of things. It helped me overcome my ability to stop overthinking and just do. And it also helped me remove certain fear that would build up, because I didn't have time to really think about doing a certain skill. I just had to do it. I knew how to move my body and make sure in certain, like, how my body should be formed, and how my body, like, how to control my body in order for me to land it, or when I'm in the air. So there wasn't a huge thought process of thinking, so fear can kind of get in. But once you would leave, once I would leave that door ajar for fear to creep in, that's when mistakes started happening. That's when injuries started happening. And I didn't like that. So I built myself up to trying not to leave a door ajar so fear can come in, and just be good at everything once I do it. And now that I say it, I'm like, oh, that's a little bit psychotic. I'm like, that's a little bit psychotic. But it's more in the sense of the fact that failing at something, I believe I'm not good at. I'm not good at failing because I don't know how to wrap my emotions around being bad at something. But then when I am bad, and I know that I'm not great at, I know I'm not great at a lot of things, but if I'm okay, or I'm like in between, I'm like, that's a high five for me. I'm good with that. Learning Arabic is allowing me to look at myself differently, and allowing me to shed a lot of the perfectionism that I've built up for a very long time. Now, I want to pause and think for a second, just because I want this to come across in a way that you understand. So on my third lesson, I had a huge mental breakdown. I just started crying because I had someone on the other side of my screen telling me, or repeating a word for me to say over and over again until I got it. And that started to frustrate me because of the fact that I was just like, it's not happening. I'm not getting it. Why are we repeating something if I'm not getting it? Let's just move on. And I just felt this rage and this anger inside of me, and I just started crying. I just started breaking down. I felt really bad because it had nothing to do with the teacher. It was more about me. I didn't know how to control my emotions because I didn't know how to navigate not being good at something and wanting to be able to get it. And having someone constantly repeat and say, no, it's this, no, it's this, say it again, say it again, say it again. I was just like, oh, this is a trauma response for me. And it flashed back to when I was in gymnastics, and I remember being on the beam, and I had to do a cartwheel back tuck to land, and stick it. And I had to do 10 repetitively. If I took a step, it didn't count. And I just remember being on that beam, and my coach saying to me, if you don't finish this, if you don't stick this, you're not going to be able to go on break with your friends and laugh it up and do all that. You're going to miss your break. You have to get all this done, and we're not leaving until it's done. Everybody was on the other side of the gym in the snack area on their break, laughing it up, and I'm on this beam, this high beam, and I was probably about 13 at the time, thinking about this dismount, and this is where I allowed fear to come in because I left that door ajar because I started overthinking the process. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it because I was afraid that I was going to either hit my head, I wasn't going to jump, I was going to miss my foot, I was going to slip. So many things started overpowering my thought process, and that created a trauma response for me because I had somebody pushing me to do something that I didn't want to do, and pushing me to do something that I believe I was not good at. And that was the sticking point. I believed I was not good at it, so fear started to creep in, and I decided before even doing it that I was going to fail at it. Coming into learning a new language, before I even started, I believed that I wasn't going to be good at this. So every lesson coming into my 5th and today, or coming into my 6th now, I had this thought process of, Alicia, you don't know how to roll your R's. You're not good at speaking another language. You can barely speak French. What are you doing? You can barely speak English properly. Like, all these thought processes that were just negative and not true just came sprouting through. They're like bursts, like just bursting through me. And it took me a while to realize this, and this is my reflection from this week of understanding that it's okay to be a beginner, and it's okay to give yourself permission to be a beginner at anything that you do. I'm not good at art per se, but I love painting. So I will go take art class and learn and realize that my perspective is different from everybody else's. So the way that my picture might turn out is obviously going to be different from somebody else, but it's still beautiful. Speaking a new language is a little bit different, but I also have to understand that there is a beginning process, and people have been speaking this language for years. So I'm having someone that has spent her whole life speaking this beautiful language, taking time every Saturday for 2 hours to break down the alphabets for me and getting me to learn, not only memorize, but learn it and understand it. And then I have to take the extra step throughout my week to go into my notes and practice myself. If you're not practicing, then you're always going to feel that you're not good enough, and you're not going to learn what it is that you want to learn out of it. This is the process. Be okay to fail, and I'm talking to myself here as well. Be okay to fail. Be okay with not knowing if what you're doing is right now, but know that you will get to the right place when you need to get there. I might not be able to roll my R's at this moment, but I know with practice, taking time out of my day, time blocking for maybe 30 or 20 minutes or maybe an hour out of my day to practice rolling my R's or rolling my tongue, practicing my alphabets, practicing certain sentences, practicing how to greet people. Those things go a very long way. The other thing I need to learn is being okay with immersing myself within the language. So that means going to places where people speak. I'm excited because I'm actually going to be going to Dubai, and I'm going to be living there for a month. So that's going to allow me to immerse myself where people do speak Arabic, and I can hear the different tones, or like, because what I've learned and what I'm learning is that depending on where you are, my teacher's Egyptian, and she says, or she pronounces words differently from somebody that is like Persian, or if someone lives in Dubai. So this is going to be a great experience for me to kind of see that, and then also be able to learn by people who speak Arabic in a grander in a grander atmosphere. Being here in Canada, I don't have any friends that speak Arabic, so I'm kind of putting myself in the unknown, which can be and is scary, but I am okay with that. I'm always okay with the unknown. I just need to stop thinking that I need to be perfect. Nobody's looking for me to be perfect except myself. And that's where I need to kind of stop. And I think if you're in that same position where you believe that you need to be perfect all the time, take a moment, take a beater, take a step back, and realize that not being perfect is, one, super beautiful. Being a beginner at something is probably the best position that you can be, because you get to make mistakes there and you get to learn from your mistakes, and you get to be able to take the things that you need and remove the things that you don't. You see your habits form in so many different ways. As we get older, a lot of the patterns or habits that we have been ingrained in us, and that we just do certain things on a daily basis that we don't realize that we are doing until we take a moment and we think about it. We're like, why do I do this? And you ask yourself, why do I do this particular thing? When it comes to our habits and the things that are ingrained with us, we also take that into new skills and new things that we want to learn. We need to be able to remove that. I walked into learning a new skill and learning a new language with old habits from past either trauma and past things that I was doing that I didn't recognize until I stepped into something new. I'm very happy that I was able to step into something new and acknowledge and realize what I've been doing, because it almost stopped me from continuing into this new skill that I honestly super enjoy. Now it's time for me to take that step back and breathe just a little bit, because I understand that I feel like I need to be great at this. I now know that I don't need to be great at this at all. I just need to enjoy where I'm at within this experience. And you need to enjoy where you are at within your experience of anything that you're learning. If you're at the beginning stages, enjoy it. Have fun with it. And as you go along, continue having fun. And I'm taking that with me as well, because that's exactly just what we need to do. Is just have fun with it. We have one life to live. We're learning new things every single day. Why not have fun and not think that we have to be perfect? It makes no sense sometimes, you know? So that is our talk for today. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. It's okay to fail. It's okay to look stupid, to look silly, to just be uncomfortable. It's a great outer body experience. And if you're able to have this outer body experience and look at yourself and just smile, you're exactly where you need to be. This is your Saturday Talk with your girl Alicia. Hope to see you guys in our next chat next week. If any of this resonated with you, leave a comment, subscribe, and we'll talk later. Bye.